Joe Biden and the White House are doing everything they can to fight against misinformation that is coming out of Russia. Specifically, they are trying to pit influencer against influencer in a battle of who is responsible for these rising gas prices. Days before TikTok suspended all of their live streaming and new content from Russia on their platform, there were tons of videos showing Russian influencers supporting the war on Ukraine. In the videos, the influencers mentioned the same points of this being a liberation mission for the Ukrainian people. When viewed independently, they also seem to be reiterating Putin's same rallying cries for invading Ukraine in the first place. Some of the videos have since been removed, but others can still be found online. Given their eerie similarity to Russian propaganda, many believe that these influencers were bribed by the Russian government to spread their message. I suppose with the hopes that they could convince the youth in that country that a special military operation was the only way forward. Then on Monday, in a statement posted to Twitter, TikTok said that they would be suspending their services in Russia. This comes as a result of the new law that was passed by the lower houses of parliament that would increase jail time to 15 years if anyone was intentionally spreading fake news about the Russian military. In their statement, TikTok said, "TikTok is an outlet for creativity and entertainment that can provide a source of relief and human connection during a time of war when people are facing immense tragedy and isolation. However, the safety of our employees and our users remain our highest priority. In light of Russia's new fake news law, we have no choice but to suspend live streaming and new content to our video service while we review the safety implications of this law. Our in-app messaging service will not be affected. We will continue to evaluate the evolving circumstances in Russia to determine when we might fully resume our services with safety as our top priority." Now, Joe Biden and the White House are deploying their own TikTokers to explain everything from inflation, rising gas prices, and the war in Ukraine. Even though inflation was a big issue for months before the war even started, it's like history is repeating itself with a different rhythm. The algorithm, if you will. The White House hopped on a Zoom call with about 30 popular influencers who then quickly afterwards hopped on their social media accounts and began discussing what the White House had just briefed them on. Yes, the White House briefed a bunch of 18-year-olds with millions of followers on what to say about rising gas prices. Kids who have barely been driving for 2 years now are on TikTok explaining why gas is expensive. Ellie Zeller, an 18-year-old who has more than 10 million followers, posted a video on her profile titled "Why is gas so expensive?" And in the video she says, "Why is gas so expensive, and why is the United States inflation rate at a 4-time decade high? I had the opportunity to ask the White House why gas down the street is $7, and here's what they said. The first obvious reason is that we're getting out of a 2-year pandemic. When use goes up, the price goes up. But the call was predominantly about Ukraine and Russia, so how does that relate? Russia is one of the top 3 producers of oil, and it is actually their #1 revenue source. Now, with Putin starting this horrific fight between Ukraine and Russia, nobody wants to work with him and do international trade." And Ellie later told the Post that she was honored to take on the role of explaining these complex situations to young people, and that she considered herself to be a White House correspondent for Gen Z. Other content she enjoys sharing consists of dancing in her house, sharing makeup tips, being on vacation, and pulling pranks on her family. And after it was revealed last week that inflation had increased by 7.9% year on year, the highest leap in 40 years, Biden had to get strong messaging out as to why this was happening. However, most Americans are bracing for an even worse increase in April. But with the November midterms in his sights, the president wants to make sure people don't think that he is the cause for the tanking economy. White House Director of Digital Strategy Rob Flaherty was the person that believed TikTokers and their massive reach could help out this current administration. Their influence does provide a critically important avenue to the American people. And during an audio clip of the meeting, Jen Psaki could be heard placing the blame of inflation on a number of things. She blamed supply chain issues, the pandemic, and the cost of energy, which has also again been rising even before Russia invaded Ukraine. A nonprofit advocacy group called Gen Z for Change also posted about the meeting with the White House and National Security Council and tweeted, "We participated in a White House and National Security Council briefing about the war in Ukraine with about 30 other TikTok creators. Taylor Lorenz wrote a story about it for the Washington Post, which inspired last night's SNL's Cold Open." And I mean, how could Saturday Night Live not take the opportunity to mock the White House and their briefing of TikTokers on a Zoom call? I mean, it practically writes itself. I'd love to hear your thoughts on all this though, because that's all the time that we have for today. So stay classy, and I'll see you on the next one.